You know that feeling when you leave the house, you're on your way to work, and you feel like you've forgotten something, but it could be like, I forgot my coffee or something. So we're on our way to our first bike ride with Team in Training, and I have that feeling, but times 1,000, because it's like, did I forget my bike shoes? What about my helmet? Do I have sunblock? Do I have flip block? Do I have the bike pump? Do we have an extra tire? I don't know. Do we have any food in case we get stuck on the road? What else do we need? There's a lot of things.
I can't
He's driving. He's allowed to drive. So here we are on our way to our first TNT ride for 2020. This is what every Saturday is going to be like. This comfy, cozy, crammed into my little car with a bunch of bikes. This is life now. We did it in 2018 together. Patrick has done it 10 or 11 years by himself.
10 years.
This is his 10th year. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. So I've already been fundraising since September. It's a lot of fundraising to do, but now comes the real kicker, is the time to start training with the team so that we can do a 100-mile bike ride. I'm going to do 72 miles around Lake Tahoe. How are you feeling?
I'm just trying to think if we remembered everything.
You're still in that.
Yeah,
I
still
know.
going over, because then you started listing things, and then I'm like, well, what other things?
Sunglasses.
They're right there.
Oh, phew.
We normally be at the gym.
We would normally be at the gym. That is a bummer. It's every Saturday, and normally we go to gym on Saturdays. It's kind of one of our favorite workouts. So we're going to miss that, but we're going to be out on the road. So for me, I am not a winter sports person. I don't like the cold. I don't like being outside in the cold too much. I don't like skiing. I don't like any of that wet, cold stuff. So I'm nervous about being outside in the cold. And once you get going at like 30, 40 miles an hour on a bike and it's like 30 degrees, that cuts through you so much. It's pretty crazy. So I'm dreading that. I'm scared about that, but I'm also excited because I know oftentimes it's not that cold. I'm just being all, I want to stay at home and bundle. And so this is going to get me outside and get me moving, and I appreciate that. I'm also scared because I'm having some physical problems with my knee and issues like that, but the fact that the Challenge Athletes Foundation gave me a recumbent trike is huge, because there's no balance difficulty. There's very little risk of me falling over and hurting myself more. So even the fact that I'm dealing with some knee issues right now, it's like I feel okay. I feel like this is the best way that I'm going to be out and active. You know what I mean?
The beginning of every TNT season, like, there's excitement because there's new people. There's people that you haven't seen since the last time you've ridden. So I'm excited to see everybody, but I'm a bit nervous. It's always a bit daunting to do the fundraising, and this year is no different. We also have the added stress that we don't know how we're going to get this bike to Tahoe. I called the airline yesterday, and they basically said it has to be treated like a bicycle, but because it's not a bicycle and it won't fit in a bicycle case, they will have to sign a waiver that says they're not responsible for any damage.
Which is very scary.
Yeah, I don't think we can do that. So I don't know how we're going to get this bike over there, or trike. So that's nerve-wracking. The fundraising's nerve-wracking. I used to, like, the first couple of years, it was so scary, the first ride of the season. The first time I rode 10 years ago in, 2011, it was in May 2011. I was so nervous and hadn't been on a bike in about 15 years. And we did like a 12-mile ride. I had to stop like 3 times. They were asking, are you okay? And they clapped when I actually finished. But it gets easier, it gets better. I love biking now. I've done over, I think, a dozen century rides, maybe not. I've done some very hard ones, and it becomes addictive. And you don't just do events, you get to bike anytime you want. It's really cool. We've done bike to work days, we've done other bike events, biking with friends. So it's been a lot of fun. I gotta merge. This is the 4th time that I've done the training for Tahoe. So Tahoe is just awesome. So that's always the thing to look forward to. It's such a fun event. So many riders, so much fun. And the preparation getting there, it's like you really bond with your team. So I'm looking forward to all the fun times we're going to have with the team this year. We're going to have to travel and miss some of the rides, but that's okay. We'll come back strong and pick up where we left off.
I think that really is the thing that gets you is the community, because it feels weird that this is a way to fundraise, that we're fundraising through gaining better physical activity and meeting people and getting community. But this community is primarily so supportive and so geared towards people who have fought cancer, who have been touched in their families by cancer. So that kind of pain seems to unify people so much, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, like my connection to this is through Patrick and through how his parents were affected by cancer, which is awful. And then at the same time, getting to see him interact with all these people who have fought through similar things. And then are biking 100 miles out in the cold and just not on their couches, you know, like it's amazing. The captain of our team is a cancer survivor, and every year that you do this, you have one or two team heroes, and they are people who are currently fighting, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the year that I did it, our team hero was Julian and Gary. Julian at that time was a 5-year-old boy.
I think he was a little bit older. Yeah, he was a little older.
But he'd been fighting for a while. So he was a really young boy who'd been fighting and won his battle off.
Three bouts of cancer. The third bout they used CAR T-cell treatment, which is developed in part by Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. And it truly revolutionary. It was like a last-ditch, last hope, and it worked. He's still doing very well. So that's amazing to hear. It makes it all worth it.
Yeah. And then Gary unfortunately lost his battle a year later, and that was really difficult, but really beautiful that the community was there for him too, because this community had been a support for him. He'd ridden with Team in Training, and he'd fundraised with Team in Training, right?
Yeah, it was actually later in the year.
It was later in the year, yeah, because he was supposed to come join us in Tahoe just to be there with us. And that was sort of the main start of his decline. And it was really, really difficult experience, but I'm glad we all got to be there for it, because it sort of proves even more how we need to have treatment for this stuff. Like, in 10 years' time, everything he suffered might be curable, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, we are on our way now. Our first ride. I'm cold. I'm scared a little. I can't help it. I'm a little scared.
Yeah, it's a short ride, which feels short now. It's like 10 to 15 miles maybe. So I'm not worried about getting the ride done. I'm worried about did I bring everything? Does my bike work? I haven't ridden a bike in 6 months. So.
And I'm scared. Can I do the ride? Like, I don't know how my body's gonna function. Is it gonna like this? Is my knee gonna let me? Having the electric assist is pretty amazing, but it's gonna be interesting to see like how much do I need this time. Anyways, we're almost there. Go team!
Put one foot in front of the other. Tell us your name, how you got involved, how long you been doing it.
Did it first time 2 years ago, 2018. With this guy, it is his 10th year this year. Yay, doing TNT.
These guys are some of our favorite people. If you guys are ever feeling down and just like, talk to them about their latest Itch.io concert that they went to, which was probably last night, and they'll tell you all about it. And live for the uninitiated. Would you just lift your right leg, please? Okay. So for those folks who complain about riding with 2 legs and how hard it is, you'll get to see her, and we have a lot of so thank you, Liv.
I do have to say I have an assist though, so if I'm really fast, it's not all me.
This is my 3rd time starting with Survivor.
And my connection, of course, is originally with my dad. He lost his life to leukemia in 2007. And I remember one of the times I visited him, he was 76 at the time, and he says, don't worry about me. I've lived a good life. And he was talking about there's this young lady that was probably like 22 that had leukemia that was in the same wing of the hospital. He goes, worry about people like her. She needs to have a full life. So I always think about that, of why I keep doing this. And when people get annoyed with the fundraisers, and I'm like, I feel like I got to keep doing that. And one other note, because Daniel's dad provided me with one of the most inspirational moments in my entire life. We were riding down, I think it's County Line Road between El Paso County or whatever, but it's like a roller coaster. And if you ever ridden it, it's like you go down one hill and you work your way up another hill and then you go down it. And I was riding with him at the back, and he was struggling that day. I mean, he had an excuse, I grant him. But seriously, like, he would ride down the hill, build up as much momentum as he could, and he would start pedaling up the hill, and he would go and go and go until he couldn't. And then he'd walk to the top of the next hill with his bike. And we had SAG come by, and they're like, do you need a ride? Do you need a ride? And he's like, no, I'm gonna get to the next stop. And he kept doing that, like hill after hill. And then it's like, you think about something like that, it's like going through treatments, recovery, and just that will to just like, I gotta do this. It's like, I remember that every year when we get on the bike. It doesn't always help me get up Lookout, but I still think about it a lot. So it's like, this is why I'm back.
All right, guys, let's have a good ride today. It's supposed to be like 67 degrees today. It won't be a long ride. But we'll be fine. All right, so on a big count of three, big go team. 1, 2, 3.
Go team!
Woo, 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 woo! Yeah! Woo, woo! Yay! Woo, woo, woo! Yeah! Ow, ow! Woo! Yay!
I'm too busy
It's probably
posting
a-
on Facebook.
Yeah. That there's a girl in it that can address that.
I go in on Wednesday morning and then I'm out by that afternoon. We have to stay for 48 hours because you can't fly directly after. But theoretically we go bone marrow in 4 to 6 weeks. So
And you can't get a flight out of New York Friday, so you got to see the Book of Mormon on Friday night. Saturday morning, and
funded the research that has made diseases like CML and CLL, and now much more so than before, AML, basically chronic conditions instead of you've got 1.5, 2 years to live. And these medications were developed with LLS funding. And so it's not just that this is making minor differences, this is transforming treatments. And of course, earlier on, decades ago, they majorly funded what turned childhood leukemia into a uniformly lethal disease, into something where, like with ALL, 90% cure rates. So it does make a difference.